What's going on, Jay Bears? Andrew J here. Welcome to episode 16 of the Jay by the Bay podcast. As always, look forward to discussing today's topics. It's going to be yet another awesome rendition of the show. Remember, football news, football conversations, football year round. Well, we had preseason starting this week. A lot of fun games, a lot of not so fun games. Had some blowouts. But, we'll dig into that. But, joining me as always on Monday is my brother, Joseph Flair Cologne. What is up, my brother?
Not much, man. Trying to get some exciting stuff going on here in Cleveland with the drama that's circulating us for this NFL season. But it's okay. We're going to have some fun today. Looking forward to everything that we're going to talk about, man.
Oh, I mean, my shirt probably says it all. I mean, it's a scarf, but that's my mood right now. Just the whole Deshaun Watson news. But
man, I was going to put a brown shirt on today, and I was like, I just can't do it. I couldn't do it. No. So I put just a regular Cleveland shirt on.
I feel it, man. Well, with that being said, man, let's get into it. So Thursday night we had, two games going, Raiders at Texans, as well as Chargers at 49ers. Or I'm sorry, 49ers at Chargers.
Yep.
I know Raiders at Texans, that was a game I was really looking at. Looked like, the Texans were just doing work on the Raiders, and then all of a sudden they had some nice drives at the end, and then the Raiders end up winning 22-20.
Yep.
It's preseason, don't really pay attention to the score that much. But, I mean, we had some standout players in that game. I know a guy that I was looking at. We were talking, like, what was the guy that you were looking into?
I was looking at Washington Jr. We keep talking about him. Game one, he had 6 carries for 63 yards. This week, he had 9 carries for 56 yards. I want to say
over 6 yards per carry.
And I want to say it was either the first drive or the second drive that he had that long run that was like 20 yards or more. Dude, it was just impressive. Just real impressive. He was able to read the holes. He was able to just be explosive in the backfield for Mendoza's start. And I was really impressed by it. I was really impressed by how the Raiders' offensive line looked, blocking for him. Mendoza this week had a little bit of a struggle through that pick 6, but it was good to see him just bounce right back. Like, he had all of his players come over to him, support him, and tell him, hey, like, this is football. That type of stuff is going to happen. So and how you respond is better.
That throw, it was a little behind him, but I don't think that interception was entirely on him. But I mean, believe it or not, I think Washington Jr., he was supposed to sit, and then he kind of started moving. So I think it was just kind of a miscommunication. Both rookies. So I wouldn't necessarily put that whole interception on Mendoza, but no, I mean, he had a drive, 6 straight completions. I think that was in the first half. So I mean, he showed some chemistry with those receivers.
And I mean, he was putting the ball where it needed to be too. And that pick that he threw, I look at the player that did that pick 6. He was I believe we were talking about. He was a safety, right? Converted to linebacker, or was it the other way around?
Oh, you're talking about Wade Woodhouse, rookie 4th round pick.
Yeah, but I mean, shout out to that guy for making that play because he's fighting for a spot on that team too. So it was good to see from both sides of the field. CJ Stroud looked, poised, ready to go for his first drive. I mean, went right downfield, and you didn't need to see anything else from him. It's going to be an exciting year for Texans with him. Hopefully, with his wide receivers, he can figure it out.
Well, a lot of people don't realize too, CJ Stroud, it seems like he has a new center every year. And this year it's looking like it's going to be that Keelan Rutledge, who was a guy that Nick Caserio, GM of the Texans, he actually traded up for him. Rutledge, he played sparingly at center. He was mainly, he was an offensive guard, primarily played at right guard. I did really like him. I thought he was more of a second round. I thought taking him in the first round was a stretch, but this is another guy. I mean, he has all the makings. He's really been great in camp. He's looking good in the first 2 preseason games.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you don't know his story, he actually does have a very inspiring story. He started at Middle Tennessee, then transferred to Georgia Tech, but he actually was in a car accident in 2023 that nearly ended his whole football career.
Oh, wow.
Bounced back. He was a first team All ACC last year. But yeah, like I said, it was an experiment at center. It seems to be paying off.
Yeah.
He's extremely versatile because if they have other injuries, he can hop back over to guard. But
Hmm.
great run blocking. Created some nice holes in that game.
I mean,
He's without a doubt.
Singletary
Yeah,
for
he's
their
without a doubt.
running back. I mean, he looked phenomenal too for the Texans. And that was a key thing that they were looking at. But yeah,
Well, yeah, and then if we kind of go back to the Raiders, I know the receiver. I still think there's some questions there. I mean, receiver one, receiver two, it's probably going to be Jalen Naylor and Trey
yeah,
Tucker. I would say right now, Jake Beck, even though he didn't do much, I mean, I don't really see who else is going to be receiver three right now. So it's looking like it's going to be his job to lose. He's second
yeah,
round pick last year, but
yeah.
we'll see.
I,
I know we were saying that was our biggest concern for the Raiders.
yeah. And I mean, especially with Genti having this injury even more now. I don't know if you saw that, but I mean, you're getting
That's going to
starting
open
to
the
get
door for
thin.
Washington Jr.
It's really going to open the door for him, but now it's for that offense. Like, hopefully, one of their receivers can step up and help out. I mean, obviously, you're going to go into this draft looking at a wide receiver for your room, and there's going to be a lot of young, talented guys that you can go get. And it's going to be good for Mendoza to just have this year to sit and watch, because you don't want him to come out there and not have a target to throw to.
Oh,
Let's
without
go
a doubt.
on, let's go on and get him a target, and then build that chemistry all off season. So I really look forward to seeing what they do next year as well, and what they can do this year with Washington Jr. and Genti. And I hope Genti can just be healthy. And I'm sorry to all fantasy owners out there that already had their fantasy draft and you took Genti. Like, that's
Well,
gotta that's gotta really sting right now.
it's supposedly not looking serious, but you never know with those ankle sprains, especially the
Yeah.
high ankle sprains. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, for the sake of him and just the league, hopefully God bless. Hopefully everything's all right
Yeah.
with that. I know 49ers Chargers, it's pretty lopsided,
Yeah.
41-17 49ers. I've been really looking close to that whole offensive line, situation and with the
Hmm.
Chargers in LA. It's still look like Jake Slaughter has the biggest opportunity there at center to replace Tyler Biadasz, who was lost for the ACL injury. But Jacob's Bomber's still pushing him. But like I said, looking like Slaughter's job. Dejan Stribling, the guy they
And
call Strip City.
another strong outing for him, man. Another strong outing.
I'm telling you. So my hot take, I think that he's going to end up being the receiver too once camp wraps.
Wow.
I know that they have Christian Kirk, Debo Samuel.
Yeah. Mike Evans when he comes back.
Yeah, Mike Evans will obviously be number one. You also got Demarcus Robinson, but I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be Stribling. He's really
I
turned
mean,
the head of that camp.
yeah, he is showing every game. Just he is strong, able to go get the ball. He's making separation. I mean, I really like him. And I think that'll be a nice wide receiver for the 49ers.
Yeah, a lot to be excited there. Hopefully, everybody can stay
Just stay
healthy.
healthy. Just stay healthy for the 49ers. It's going to be a tough division.
Well, and then shifting over to Friday, Jets Steelers. Jets took that one. They shut out the Steelers 17-0 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I do think.
Struggle. It
Remember,
was a struggle day for both our guys that we were talking about so highly last week.
well, I'll tell you what though. I do think that Drew Aller. Well, like I said, they took him in the third round, so I think they do view him a little bit higher than Howard.
Yeah.
But I think he did kind of take a little jump over Howard in this game. You know, Will
Would
Howard, he
agree.
had those. Will Howard had those two picks.
Hmm.
I don't think the decision making was good. The Andre Cisco pick. Cisco was just reading his eyes. He was trying to throw it to Roman Wilson, read him, picked it off because he was staring him down too long. And
Yeah.
then Samuel Womack took advantage of that underthrow. I don't know where he was throwing that one. And then, I mean, Aller got sacked 3 times, but that's because of the offensive line. Offensive
Yeah.
line is not looking good. I think
Yeah.
they could officially say Broderick Jones was not a hit in the first round for Pittsburgh. But Mike McCarthy, he was praising Aller at the end of the game. His pocket movement,
Hmm.
navigating, through the pressure. So that's why I think Aller took a slight lead over
I
Howard after this
agree.
game.
I think this was like one of the first times that I felt like watching Howard, he was forcing a lot. Like it just seemed like, he was forcing it. And the first game, he was just taking what was there. You know what I mean? Making his correct reads, looking downfield, looking at one target, wasn't available, going to the next one. This one, it just felt like I don't know if he felt the pressure. I don't know if something else was getting to him. It just felt like he was just forcing a lot of what he was doing. And I didn't think he had to. So I hope he can bounce back. I do agree with you though that I think Allard took a jump ahead of him. And maybe that's why he was, so worried about putting tape out there because he was feeling that pressure.
No, yeah, definitely. But yeah, they got to figure something out. Yeah, the offensive line. Now, I mean, like I said, these weren't the starters. But even the starters last week didn't look good.
Yeah.
But yeah, still committing penalties. Three
Yep.
out of four. 3 out of the 4 penalties that Pittsburgh had was on the line. They actually had a fourth that was declined. Well, we go over Saturday, obviously, one of the games. Buffalo at, Cleveland. Buffalo prevailed 31-7. As of this morning, Deshaun Watson's been named QB1. Not sure how to take that. And then
I,
let me be clear about this.
Go
So
ahead.
I know we were talking when I texted you this morning as soon as I saw the
Yeah.
news. Did I ever like the trade? No, because I don't think anybody is worth that much. I mean, I even said the same thing about the Stafford Goff trade years ago.
Yes.
It didn't end up working out for both teams, but that's the exception. Did I like the trade? No. And then, at the end of the day, have I ever booed him? Have I ever rooted against him? No, I haven't. Because I do believe in second chances. But that's the thing. I that post press conference that he had after that game, I think that was officially him saying like he's just I'm done here. I'm done in the city. I think the $230 million contract. I think that takes away some of the sting. And I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but I think that management looks at that, that 40 million and dead cap. They look at that.
Yeah.
And as much as you want to say it or not, there's politics in the NFL. There
Yeah.
absolutely is. And I think that politics is playing a part in this. And I mean, moving forward, I mean, I do think that we still see Shador Sanders this season. I think it's sooner than later too.
Mm-hmm.
But I question how this is going to look for him, moving down. Because again, Dion, he feeds him. It's nothing against it, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's more of him being a father too,
Yeah.
not just him being Deion Sanders. So I question how this is going to look, moving forward. But
So,
it's
so
hard,
for
it's hard to win
me,
the Browns.
like I remember all off season, before we even were talking about having this podcast, when it was in its early forms, we were talking about the Browns, and it was already a discussion of what do you do. Um, I blame this all right now on the poor handling of this whole thing. This thing has been a joke. It makes us a joke, and as a fan, it's just another instance where I'm like, we're not even in the regular season. We're not even in the regular season. We're not even talking about players that like are gonna be here for a while. We're talking about a guy that has given up. And for him to get so mad at the booing, I understand. You got booed
It's
when
a part of the game.
you got injured. Hey, and if you listen to a lot of people that were at that game, they say it was a minimum. It was a minimum amount of people doing it. There were fans that were telling those people to stop. The booing he got this weekend was not that. You looked awful.
Oh
You had
yeah,
a
wait
quarterback.
until week 3.
Yeah, you had a quarterback rating of 14. You threw a pass 4 yards in the dirt. I'm sorry. You're going up against third, fourth stringers, guys that probably aren't even going to be on the Buffalo Bills team. You had every chance to come out here, sling the ball around, make yourself look that much better than Shador, and take this job. You didn't do it. And for you to go on that press conference and do that, I was like, I've never seen a quarterback lose a quarterback battle from a press conference. And
Well, he's just
I
yeah, he said all the wrong things. That's
and
I know these guys are humans too, but you got to suck that up. It's
yeah,
all a part of the game.
like it
It's
is
a
part
privilege
of the
playing the
game.
NFL.
To sit there and say, like, I don't know, maybe we have 17 road games. Come on, dude. Like, I just don't understand as a coach, even how you say that that's a winning attitude and that's what we're going to put on the field. Like, I don't understand that. It's it's so frustrating because I've told you before, I think there's exciting pieces to this team, but I mean, all year it's going to be this talk. And if he plays, if they go 1-1, somehow they split. I don't think that's going to happen. But if they go 1-1 and they come into that stadium and it's opening home game for them, and he goes out there and just starts throwing balls in the dirt, I don't care how early the game is, you're gonna hear fans. You're gonna hear them, and especially because you put them on blast like that. So now you have put a target on you, and I just think it's unfair for you to do that press conference with your players behind you too. Like you said, it's part of the game, and you got to suck that up. Like
No, it's
the
he
the fit,
he let his emotions get the best of him.
yeah,
But I mean, just dude, the quarterback play was just atrocious. I mean, just
yeah.
yeah, it's just I mean, he couldn't generate anything. In the offense looked stagnant. But
It was like three straight 3-and-outs for him.
it's the
It, it,
interception was on him. I mean, it
it
was
was
he threw it. He threw it high. Yeah, I mean, 5 for 12, 35 yards and an interception. I don't know. And
it's
you're even
but
saying about the 4 yard throw that just he threw it like right in the dirt.
it's it looked
I
like,
don't know.
I mean, I'm like, from we saw it last year with Dylan Gabriel doing that, and now like we have him doing it. It's just I wish like someone in our organization would step up and be like, we cannot keep doing this when you are trying to sell $100,000 tickets to a brand new stadium, and that's what we're going to put on the field. Like, we've been a part of this. You and me have been Browns fans our whole lives, and it's just, I never believed it when my family like said it's like the hardest thing in the world to do. Man, it is so hard. It is so hard. But I do have some positive stuff I liked from the game. I'm glad we got that out like right at the beginning. I really liked Isaiah Bond. I know he only had one catch. He only had one target for 8 yards. Um, but you look at he's a guy from Texas that he shows he's can have these good years. He did go into concussion protocol, so I think that's why Munkin just was like, "Hey, let's get you out." He got all cleared. He could have came back in the game though. But you know, 2025, he played 16 games. He had 18 receptions, 338 yards for 44 targets. I mean, if we can get
He's
some,
hey, he's a solid receiver. It's
yeah, and I think if we can get the touchdowns that he had when he came and got drafted, he had 5, and then the year before that 4. If we can get some sort of production like that out of him, I've said it before to you. I think that moving forward, your receiver room of Boston, Concepcion, and Isaiah Bond, I like the building blocks of that. And it's now, and then Fannin for tight end. Um, I like the building blocks of it. I thought the offensive line for Shador, I thought
offensive line
they
overall they
looked
look
good.
solid.
They gave him time. I thought
Sanders had a lot
Shador,
of time. Watson even had a lot of time.
yeah, I thought Shador looked poised in the pocket. He did throw the one pick. Was a little bit behind. I mean, those interceptions are going to happen in the game, but that touchdown drive that he led downfield, I was texting you during the game. I really like Sanders. We looked like an offense, an NFL offense. There was balance the whole time, and that's all I want for the whole year. And
Well, then going back to Sanders too, I just I think he was a better decision maker in that game. You know that nice ball that he had to Luke Floria,
it
but
was nice.
he's also, and I think he had that. Actually, it was afterwards, but when he got actually hit in the head by
Hmm.
T.J. Parker by Buffalo, and then the very next play he throws a 23-yard completion to Luke
Yeah,
Floria for the first down. Yeah, he just and that the interception again. That one, I don't think it was entirely on him. Yes, it was behind him on that one, but bounced right out of Jermaine Terry's
yeah,
hands. But yeah, 9 for 11, 74 yards, touchdown and interception. Yeah, I liked what I saw from Sanders. I thought that was a solid game from him. I thought he helped the stock. I thought it was enough. I originally said earlier like weeks ago, Watson, it's looking like he's gonna be the number one. I would have liked to see Sanders out there week one, but again, we'll see him sooner than later. He'll definitely be out there. But it has a lot of weekends. It's always hard to be a Browns fan. I mean, you had all that weird stuff with that Daquan Wright, who was the first
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
He was the first one of those NFL players to enter the transfer
Hmm.
portal. But
And
yeah,
he
and
was
then
dressed warming up.
well, and that's so Monken. I don't know if you saw
I
Monken's
did see it.
post game. So he was saying he's like, so that's why Lane Kiffin called me last week. So
Yeah.
it sounds like he's going to LSU.
Yep. It's wild, man. It's wild. It's just so many wild things with the Browns. I just when's it gonna
It's
end for us, bro? When's it gonna end?
never, not in our lifetime. But all right. So and then Ravens Vikings. There wasn't much going on there. I'll tell you what. He didn't have the flashy stats, but JJ McCarthy, I thought he conducted an exceptional interview beforehand. How he was talking about he was buying into the whole thing of being a backup, and at this point he's showcasing, but he's
Yeah.
saying all the right things. I don't know if he talked to his agent, but he's basically like, hey, this is where I want to be. I want to be in Minnesota. I'm bought
Yep.
in as the backup right now. He's like, I'm gonna just keep working harder.
Yeah.
And then he went out there. He actually had a decent game. 5 for 10, 81 yards. Like I said, not the most flashy stats, but he had nice zip on the ball. Excellent progression read. Should have had a fourth down touchdown to Miles Price, but it went right through his hands. But yeah, looked patient in the pocket overall. JJ McCarthy, I think that's a name you're going to hear next year, depending on where the Browns are drafted next year. I think JJ McCarthy might be a guy to watch, possibly, maybe not necessarily a long-term answer, but like a guy to come in for
Yeah.
a year and then see what
I, I
happens there.
I think he's another guy that like he'll benefit from just another year of watching. He showed last year he's an NFL quarterback. He had some really good games. The one game against the Bears where led them on that comeback win. I mean, that was an exciting game that I was like, wow. I really thought that, they were going to roll with him. He obviously struggled after that, but I think if he buys in and does the right things and is like, I'm just going to learn, I'm going to keep working on my weaknesses and this whole season, I don't see any reason why, it might not even be the Browns, another team that could be looking for for a quarterback doesn't give him a call and say, "Hey, we want to give you a chance here." So, and I know he's from that state up north. That pains me, but I thought he was a talented quarterback. So I could easily see him getting a change of scenery and being successful with it. And we've talked about it before on previous episodes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Falcons at Colts. I don't know if you tuned into that game at all. Falcons
I did not.
manhandled the Colts 34-6. So this will kind of give you a picture. So I already told you it was 34-6.
Yeah.
So Indianapolis's offense. So they finished the game 3 for 14 on third down conversions. That's just over 21%. Started the game 0 for 9 on conversions. They actually didn't start showing any type of life until Anthony Richardson came in. He
Oh
actually let
my
him.
gosh.
He went with him. They went 3 for 5. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I had nothing for Indianapolis. Jack Strand is a guy. So undrafted rookie. He went to Division II Minnesota State Moorhead. In this game, and I was just surprised because he's letting Stefanski and Tommy Reese know, hey, I can play quarterback too because Michael Penix Jr. He's been cleared to participate in 11-11, like he's progressing, sooner,
Yep.
faster than they thought, and Tua hasn't, made any leadway. So I'm not saying Strand's gonna be week one quarterback, but he's like, hey, I'm here. But yeah, he
Yeah.
threw the ball well. But his mobility gave Indianapolis problems. Here's his stat line in the game: 12 for 17, 212 passing yards, and a passing touchdown. But then he also had 9 carries for 22 yards and a rushing touchdown. He looked awesome. He looked really good out there.
All right. I mean, I did the Colts have any of their like starters play at all? Really?
I believe they had. I believe they might have did like a series, just kind of
Okay.
like everybody else. But other
That's
than
a
that, not
team.
much.
that's a team last year that was very, very good with Daniel Jones until his injury. So I hope they can figure that out because, you know, Daniel Jones is there. He's going to be their starter. I mean, that could be another quarterback battle if there's a struggle where
Danny Dimes.
And Anthony Richardson comes a knocking again for them. I don't think the Colts want that at all, though. I don't think they want that type of situation. But I mean, I think that they'll probably bounce back from that for the Falcons. Like with Kevin Stefanski, hopefully they can have a strong year. I'm not expecting a lot out of the Falcons. We've talked about before with their offense, Drake London, Pitts, and Bijan Robinson. I mean, you have talent there. So if you can just get, consistent quarterback play, and I know that, I mean, Kevin Stefanski was looking for that every year for the Browns. He did show times being the play caller for the Browns. I really liked his play calling, but then he just showed times where I was like, I don't understand what plays he's calling. So for Atlanta, hopefully he figures it out for them because you just might have some head scratching times where Bijan isn't getting the ball, and you're like, why isn't Bijan getting the ball? And it's just Kevin
Oh,
Stefanski's offense that he runs.
oh, that offense is going to be built around Robinson, but he's already handed the play calling duties going to Tommy Reese. So
Oh, okay.
I don't
Okay.
know, maybe we'll see a little touchdown Tommy in Atlanta. Well, Chiefs at Buccaneers. I was looking at this one a lot because there's some guys I really love in this game. I know you heard me praising Emmett Johnson. Emmett Johnson, fifth round pick out of Nebraska. So, didn't have a huge statistical performance, but still had, he had the game's first score. So he went 7 for 25. That's only 3.6 yards per carry. Not big there. One catch, 10 yards. But he reminds me so much of Isaiah Pacheco, those first two
Yeah.
seasons in Kansas City. Just, you know, he's just so raw when you look at him. He's explosive. Every time he has the ball, he just shoots right through the hole. The way his speed, if you just watch him, the way he just cuts around to the outside, he gets that edge. He just, you know, I know they got, Kenneth Walker the third.
Hmm.
They will find reps and a spot for him on that Kansas City offense. So mark my words. Emmett Johnson, I know we were talking about Mike Washington Jr. Emmett Johnson, that's a guy that I think a lot of people are going to be picking him up in fantasy, come like week 7, week 8, because he's getting, touchdowns here and there.
Yeah.
He's going to get his fair amount of touches this year.
I agree with you. And I mean, another guy, Justin Fields, has been having a strong preseason, strong offseason. Another guy that's trying to just tell the league, like, hey, I'm still here. I'm still here. And he's benefiting from being with Andy Reid and just being around Pat Mahomes. I think that's a guy that, like, you know, maybe not this year, maybe not even next year, but come when it's time for him to find a new team, I think some teams out there will be giving him a call and giving him another second chance, especially coming from a system like Andy Reid. And if you can just keep learning all the great things that Andy Reid has to teach, and Andy Reid's been saying nothing but positives about him too. Um, I think he's the guy that, Buckeye. I'm hoping a Buckeye quarterback can do something besides CJ Stroud. Um, but he's the guy that I think he could even. And I was bringing it up to you. If you're the Browns, do you move on from both Shador and Watson and go out and get a JJ McCarthy or a Fields, like you were saying, not long term but short term until you can figure out your problem. Um, but yeah, I think Kansas City they're poised. It's going to be between them and Denver, in my opinion, for
So
that
see,
division, and it's
I
going to
got
be
them winning the
exciting.
division.
And I have Denver winning the division.
But
It's going to be it's going to be an exciting division to watch for sure. And Andy Reid just looks like he's ready to keep building all these players up and keep going.
well, and I mean, if they need someone, do you see? So Harrison Butker making the case he's still the best kicker in football.
Yeah,
So he had a 69-yard field goal, which
I
would have been an
saw that.
NFL record. So
Yeah,
he made all three of his field goals. So he went 45-yard, 58 yards, and then also the 69-yarder. I mean that dude just boots it. Uh, Also in this game, so flipping over to the Buccaneers, Reuben Bain Jr.
Yep.
I've made it clear even before the draft. I love this guy. He's my pick. Defensive rookie of the year. I didn't have any stats that jumped out at you, but he was a huge factor in this game.
He really
And
was.
if you watch him, he's explosive off the snap. You could see the speed, the power technique that he has,
Hmm.
and he's going to be a huge nightmare for a lot of offensive tackles in the league. Get the questions about the arm length. I don't care. I'm throwing that out. Just the closing burst that he has, it's going to be nightmare. It'll give
Yeah.
nightmares to offensive tackles. But yeah, run screen recognition. He attacks. He reads it well. You don't see that from rookies.
Mm-mm.
But Reuben Bain Jr., defensive rookie of the year. I think he's really going to help that Tampa Bay defense.
I agree. I really do. That division is Tampa Bay's for the grab. And you got a guy like Baker that uh, he plays with a chip on his shoulder, and he's got the biggest chip on his shoulder right now. Um, look out, look out in that division because he's coming strong, and I'm very sad that we got to play him week 2 because ooh wee,
Like I
that's
said,
gonna
I'll be
be
like I said, I'll be there.
that is gonna be that's gonna be a rough one. I'm glad I'm gonna be at work for most of the game, and then I'll watch the highlights. But I'm excited for the Buccaneers to see what they can do this year. I think it's gonna be an exciting year. I think Bain is gonna just absolutely, like you say, give nightmares to people, and that defensive tackle that they re-signed. I think
VA.
Tampa Bay is yeah. I think Tampa Bay is gonna prove that they're still sticking around and they're for real. It's just can they keep the consistency? Can you get a full year out of Baker consistent? Because he's shown the ability to make players better around him. And Ibuka's second year this year, I think look out for him. Yeah, I think he's going to be an exciting guy in Tampa Bay. That's just going to be electrifying. And if they can just keep consistency and building on this defense, it's going to be they're going to be a very tough team.
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely. They're my pick for the win the NFC South. Panthers Jaguars. Panthers took that one 34-17. I thought Bryce Young looked sharp. Jimmy Horton Jr. looked explosive. He had that 39-yard run around the end. Like I said, I think he had 8 of those like type plays last year. I think that he could be a weapon on that offense. John Mechie III showed something. He went 6 for 7, 77 yards. Outside of that, I really didn't take much notes from that.
Nah, I didn't either.
Uh,
I'm
uh,
sorry to my
Pat,
friend. By the way, he's a Jaguars fan. He listens every week. I'm sorry. I promise. Next episode, I'll take some notes for your Jaguars and I'll come at you with some Jaguars stuff.
I still want to know how a guy from Cleveland's a Jaguars fan.
uh, he met Miles Garrett in the Jaguars shirt, and Miles Garrett like looked at him and said, "I'll take a picture with you." And he put his hand just completely over the logo, and I literally asked him. I pulled a Bane from Batman. I'm like, "Do you feel like you're in charge?" I was like, "Is that how you felt?" And he was like, "Kinda." And I think that year that we had to play the Jaguars, and he said, "Don't worry, I got a special sack coming from for Travis Lawrence for you." And I was like, "Dude, your
That's
Jaguars are probably like,
hilarious.
what are you doing to us, man?"
Packers Broncos. Packers took that, or no, Broncos took that one 33-13. So there's your Broncos.
Yep.
I saw some chemistry from Nix and Waddle. I think they only connected on that
Yes.
one pass, 35 yards.
Yeah.
Nick supposedly said that he's actually got to read it and get the ball out quick because he didn't realize how fast Jalen Waddle was. So that was another one. I thought they gave up a lot for him. It was like a first, a third,
Hmm.
and was it a fifth, maybe a pick swap. But he's gonna be dangerous on that offense with someone throwing the ball
I,
like Nick's.
I agree. And I mean, with Peyton and Knicks and that Broncos team, I mean, if I said it in our one episode, if Knicks was healthy, I think they beat the Patriots and they're in the Super Bowl. And I think it's a different Super Bowl. I think Seattle probably still pulls that Super Bowl out. But I mean, you're talking about a team that it's always hard to go up north and play in Denver. They always say it's hard to play there. Um, and if it comes down to Denver and another team in the playoffs, I think it's just going to be tough. They're a tough defensive team. They're a tough all around team. And I really like that chemistry that Nix and Waddle is building. I think that's going to be our duo to stop. I really do.
Well, I mean, Nick's already making, an argument that he's almost a top 10 quarterback. Some people are naming him a top 10. Commanders at Lions. Lions prevailed there 17-13. Daniels, Jaden Daniels lasted one series, went 0 for
Yeah.
1, got sacked on the second play.
Yeah.
And then, they were just yanked. They're like, all right, get the hell out of here.
Hmm.
But yeah, Washington offensive line, that's going to be a big problem, big concern. Laramie Tunsil out for the majority of the year, maybe the whole season, depending on,
Yeah.
where they're at, when it's time for them to come back. But yeah, they need to figure something out. Otherwise it's going to be a long season for Daniels and that Washington team.
Yeah.
But
And
Devin White with the Lions, though, who they signed this offseason, he's still playing at a high level. I mean, all around solid play in this game. He might make he's battling Malcolm Rodriguez right now for a linebacker, starting linebacker. He might very well, edge him out, but we'll see. I know it's Rodriguez's job to lose, but Devin White's, still a hell of a linebacker. Saints at Rams. That one was pretty lopsided, 34-0 for the Rams. I'm telling you, every year the Rams, they find all these undrafted players.
yep.
It drives me crazy. It's just so I was talking about Austin Blask in the last game, so undrafted rookie. Now they got this AJ Arcuri, who was their 7th-round pick in 2022. They both had a productive day. They kept Stetson Bennett clean. Ty Simpson didn't really play much in the game, but they kept him clean. I mean, it was just back-to-back games for Blask now. Rams just keep finding these offensive linemen.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, as a Browns fan, I wish that they would do this. But yeah, in the game though, Stetson Bennett, biggest performer. He went 19 for 31, 181 yards. He also had 2 carries for 2 touchdowns. Ty Simpson, 8 for 12, 73 yards. CJ Daniels, 6th-round pick from out of Miami. He flashed. He had 8 catches on 13 targets for 68 yards. And then I keep telling you, they find these players. So Alex Cook, who is a safety, he had that pick 6 that went for 100
Yeah.
yards. This guy
Hmm.
was playing in the UFL a couple months ago for the Birmingham Stallions. I'm like, I had to look him up right away. I'm like, who's Alex Cook? I'm like, I can't explain it. Les Snead and that scouting department are
Yeah.
probably the best in all of football.
I wish the Browns could take a phone call to him and say, "Hey, how do we handle this quarterback battle?" or anything like that. But I mean, you hit the nail on the head. The Rams just keep when you already have a team that has superstars and you can find these guys that are just going to be coming in doing their job. I mean, it makes your just job so much easier. Because then you're not worried about a guy being big headed or anything. He's just out there making his plays. And then you got your superstars, Miles Garrett, and you got you know your guys that they're going to go out there and do their thing no matter what. They're so talented that they're not. But it says so much when you have these guys that just have the ability to step up when it's needed most and take every opportunity and make the most of it. So
Yeah, you get one. I mean, sometimes you get 2 opportunities, but a lot of times these guys, you get one
yeah,
opportunity, don't
yeah,
mess it up. Giants and Dolphins. So Giants took that one 26-3. Like I said, there's a lot of lopsided games. Odell Beckham, I'm still, I don't know if he makes a team, but he looked shifty. He had the one play.
he did.
He basically, I mean, he stepped back like 2 yards and then he got
Yeah,
back to 2 yards. So it was like
yep,
basically all for nothing. But
yeah,
I mean, those
I,
knees still looking good. I
yeah.
mean,
And I took some notes for that game. Because Giants obviously, like I said, I picked them uh to edge out the Eagles or the Cowboys. I think it's going to be a tough year for them to do it, but I really like Slayton in that game. 4 catches for 58 yards. He had 6 targets. Um, if Neighbors can be healthy, and get a full year out of him, and you have Malachi Fields, and then you have Slayton, and you have Odell that can, come in maybe on just like some red zone stuff or anything like that. Like, I think that's going to be a really good wide receiving room. Harris didn't play, I don't think, but hopefully with Cam Scatabo, like at your running back position, hopefully they could just stay healthy, just like the 49ers. And I think they can be very competitive, this Giants. I didn't see Reese around the ball that much. I did see him playing it for I think one or two series. I think that defense, needs him really to be a key player for them. Um, but
I
I
think
was
with the, I think just with the
good.
rotation of Reese, Burns, and then Abdul Carter, I think that's just them rotating. That's going to be a nice pass rush.
Yeah,
The Giants.
I do too. And I think if they can just, protect uh, their quarterback at all costs and keep him upright and keep him, from going. I know the last game he went into the concussion protocol, he was cleared, and he, after the game had said like he didn't understand, like, he keeps being in these concussion protocols. But just a team that, if they can just stay healthy with their quarterback, they're going to be very competitive. Um, and that's why I picked them obviously this year because I think Neighbors, if he can have a full healthy year, that is going to be with Malachi Fields. I think that's going to be a very tough duo to stop in that division.
Going back to Darius Slayton, so I'm a nerd when it comes to like stats and all that.
Oh
So
yeah,
I, first of all, I think he's a sneaky and quiet good receiver. This guy actually be year 8 in New York. Actually, so in 7 seasons in New York, he actually led the team 4 times in receiving yards.
I did not know that.
2000, yeah. So I got it right on here. 2019, 2020, and then as well as 2022 and 2023. I like him
I
because
mean,
he just buys in. He doesn't,
yeah,
he's not
that's
he's never been the number one receiver.
yep,
Just as the receiving yards leader didn't mean he was number one. But yeah, he just buys in the role.
yeah.
Never hear any type of like complaining or anything.
That's what I wrote
Like,
down. That he could be that reliable guy that it's third down and you need this first down, and he's your guy that he's gonna be Mr. Reliable for you for
yeah,
Dart.
give me three of him, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Bears at Bengals. Bengals took that one 27-9. One of the things I really for the Bears, Jordan Vandenberg continues. He continues to show quickness and athleticism. Again, he was a 6th-round pick out of Georgia Tech, South African guy, just big and strong guy. Just for being so large, he's just so quick. But I really looked at the Bengals defensive line. So Landon Robinson, 7th-round pick out of Navy. He had what was it? Yeah, he had a sack and a half. He almost had 2 sacks. But he just generated so much significant interior pressure in that game. Just another guy that's fast. He's a person I don't think they really thought he was going to make the team, but now he actually looks like he might make the team. I do have a hot take on this. I know they lost Trey Hendrickson this season. I think the Bengals actually have a better pass rush this year, even without
Oh
Hendrickson.
wow, that's
So
a big
you,
hot take.
you can hold that to me, but I mean, just with everything, they signed, Boya Mafe, they draft Cassius Howell, Landon Robinson now making some
Yeah,
noise. They bring in, I know in the interior, but they bring in Dexter Lawrence. I mean, if you really look at it on paper, I think it's an upgrade. Like I said, I know they lost Hendrickson, but yeah, you go like I said, you can hold it to me. Write it down. Take a mental note, and we'll circle back to it at the end of the year. Eagles at Patriots. This was actually a pretty good game. I was
it
watching that
was.
one. So Patriots won 24-21. For the Patriots, this Kindle Vildor. So he was 5th-round pick by the Bears in 2020. He's just a surprise defensive back, man. He just, I think he's another guy. I don't think they're really counting on making the team, but now I think he's become a rotational piece. I think he
Yeah,
does end up making the team. For the Eagles, Tanner McKee, I think he's a top 10 backup quarterback. He went 16 for 22, 173 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. He had a 125.8 passer rating. And then Carson Steele. So A lot of people, I don't even think that he might have been injured last year. Or he just never saw the field for the Chiefs last year. But 2024, he had a couple starts for the Chiefs when they were running through running back problems. He had 117 total yards in this game. He was 6 for 4, or 6 for 7 receiving, 84, 84 yards receiving. He had a receiving touchdown. He was the guy that hurdled the one guy into the end zone.
Yeah.
So, Cowboys at Cardinals. That was pretty lopsided. 34-13, Dallas. I didn't really have a lot of guys for. I actually had none for the Cardinals. No Carson Beck.
Nope.
Gardner Minshew, 19 for 23, 177 yards. He threw an interception. I thought Joe Milton looked really good in this game.
Yeah.
Joe
I
Milton
did
looked
too.
phenomenal. 9 for 13, 179 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. He also had a rushing touchdown, but back to his passing, 151.4 passer rating. Joe Milton, that's a guy I think he's showcasing. I think in that game, I think he beat out Sam Howell as the backup quarterback behind
Hmm.
Dak Prescott.
I agree.
Yeah, just other things. Jaden Blue is a guy that they're really, I think, high on. I think he's going to be that number 2 running back. 15 carries, 75 yards. He's just shifty, and he's shifty. He's got good cutting ability. His pass protection was even good. He looked really good. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think they haven't had a good blocking running back, I think, since Zeke Elliott.
Hmm.
And then Camden Brown, undrafted receiver out of Georgia Southern. They like him so much that they signed him to a 3-year, $3 million deal. He was 2 catches, 4 targets for 77 yards. But the guy that I'm really looking at in this game is on the defensive side. So Siobhan Revel Jr. This is the guy that drank the Michael Jordan juice from Space Jam. Out of 114 possible cornerbacks last year, PFF graded him 114th. This year, he's just looking encouraging in camp. I mean, he's a defensive riser. He's been actually holding his own against CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens at camp. He's actually in consideration for against Kobe Durant for the cornerback 2 position.
Oh, wow.
I mean, like I said, he's just showing up at camp. He only had 1 series on Saturday, but he was the guy that picked off Gardner Minshew. It was a 22-yard interception. Don't sleep on Siobhan Revel Jr. And my hot take for him, I think he's a Pro Bowler within a year or 2.
Damn.
And then the last night, I know we were kind of both watching, texting at the same time. Seahawks Titans.
Yeah.
Seahawks end up winning 19-16. They
Yep.
could have won either or at the end of the game. I know there's a couple of turnovers.
Hmm.
Anybody stand out in that game for you?
Right, the running back for Seattle. I know that Seattle much the running backs picked out with Price, Halani, Milrow, but right, I mean, 8 carries for 81 yards and had a touchdown. I mean, with the
That was
Charbonnet
a long yard.
injury, yeah, but the with the Charbonnet injury, I mean, he shows that he's gonna be an option for them. Uh, and I mean, they have a deep running back room now. Like they losing Kenneth Walker was like their big question. Like, what are they going to do, moving forward? I think all 3 of these guys are going to be very talented for you. I think Seattle's going to have a very good running back room right now. And running the ball is not going to be an issue for them. They just look like they're ready to go.
I thought Drew Lock, I didn't think he looked bad. He was 12 for 14, 103 yards in the TD. Jalen Milrow, man, I know it's still only a second season. I question his future in Seattle, though. I think in that game, Drew Lock officially took over as the backup quarterback there for behind Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Milrow, he didn't look good, man. I mean, I don't know if you watched the whole game, but yeah, they had him in there at the end. I mean, he had the opportunities to help them win. Well, I mean, they won the game, but he had opportunities to really, make some plays, and he just didn't do it.
No.
Anybody for Tennessee that stood out for you?
I was paying attention to him, but mostly I was paying attention to Seattle with my notes I was writing. I think Tennessee, they're young. They got a young team. I want to see more chemistry building with Ward and Tate. Heard Tate's name called. I
He got
believe
some
the pass.
targets.
Yeah, I believe one of the targets was like over him, so he couldn't go make that catch. I think as the year builds, I just want to see Ward and Tate build that chemistry. you went so high to get him, Tate, and that was my biggest question. Tate benefited from having Marvin Harrison Jr., Jeremiah Smith, so he wasn't always the one getting double covered. Now in Tennessee, you're the number one target. So I hope he has a strong year for him. And I hope Ward can have a strong year building chemistry with him.
I was looking at that a little bit. The guy that I was really looking at for Tennessee was Anthony Hill Jr. That was their 60th overall pick, second round. Another one of those guys that was 2 seasons ago. So he's a linebacker out of Texas. 2 seasons ago, people were talking about possible top 10 pick, and then he didn't even have a terrible season last year at Texas. He had such a huge second season there that when he had that kind of like solid play, people just thought that it was a digression, and then he ended up falling in the second round. That guy, I mean, he had seven tackles. He was the one that had the interception on Jalen Milroe. But I mean, that's a guy. He showed textbook tackling, excellent playmaking insights, just his coverage ability. The fact that he fell to 60 to them, I thought that was a home run for Tennessee. Only time will tell. The long term, I think he becomes a staple on that Tennessee defense. I think he becomes that quarterback on that defense. And I think they found themselves a linebacker that could be, leading that defense for the next 10 seasons. But anything else in that game for you?
No, that was pretty much what I wrote down. I mean, game one, Halani had 42 yards, and the running back also Milrow had 36 yards. So I think with Seattle, I mean, we know what we're gonna get from them. I hope Tennessee can just come out this year and play pretty strong. Second year for Ward. Hopefully him and Tate just look good, and we can get some strong play from them, because if they can figure it out, then you have your building blocks to keep going forward if you're Tennessee.
Oh, no, definitely.
So I don't know if you watched it on Saturday. I was in between watching some of the games, and along came on my screen UFC, and Anthony Went. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Oh, that's the guy you were talking about. I remember you telling me
Yes.
about him.
Yes. So he was undrafted. He played for the Jets. He had one game for them. He had one tackle, one forced fumble. But the
Oh,
reason that,
okay. So he made the
yeah,
most of it at least.
yeah, he made the most of it. But the reason it stuck out was, when they were announcing him, he's 8-0 in his MMA record. He has
Holy
five,
cow!
yeah, five by finishes. He has five knockouts.
He's just
Um,
knocking dudes out.
yeah, and now he's only had two fights for the UFC. One was Dana White's Contender Series that he does, where basically it's like your interview is you fight, and if you win the fight and it's an exciting fight, you get your UFC contract right then and there. And then sometimes he announces when you're going to fight next. So on his Contender Series, he ended up winning by knockout. Can't remember if it was the first or third round. But then in this fight, it was a first round submission. He choked the guy out. I mean, this dude he's 6 foot
So he's
even,
got good.
200.
He,
He's
so
got good hands. Yeah.
so not only hands, but he's good grappling
Yeah.
too.
And he's 6 foot even, 224 pounds. Dude just, yeah, I mean, he looked like a monster. And I mean, he took it to this guy. And I also wrote it down that this is another fighter for the UFC that they're getting NFL guys from it. You look at Greg Hardy, which I mean, you know, say what you
Just
want
kind
about
of went
Greg
south.
Hardy. Yeah. But then Matt Mitrione was another heavyweight fighter for the UFC, had a very long career with them. And then another guy that, as a UFC fan now, I go back and forth on what I'm going to do with it, how I like him, and that's Hokit. Hokit played for,
Josh Hokett.
yeah, he played for Arizona. He played for the 49ers, was a practice squad for both of them. So he never got to see the field, but he's 10-0 also. Um, so you just look at these guys that we talked about it in this episode, like getting your second chance, making the most of it. I'm excited to see what Anthony Witt can do for the UFC with that heavyweight division. Uh, the heavyweight division, with Aspinall and Gagne and all the other fighters that they got. They need some exciting guys, and if they're getting guys like Hogan and Wint and young guys that are going to be there winning fights by finishes like this, like ooh, it's going to be an exciting time. And like I said, he just stuck out when I was watching it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like there's so many guys that are they have a chance in the NFL, don't make it, or they have a college career in wrestling and they find fighting as a way to go. And it's because they have that motor and that competitive edge that a lot of guys don't have. You
Well, and
know,
you're seeing all those, even like boxing too. Like a lot of those
yeah,
guys are going over there. I think it comes down to just conditioning. I think a
yeah,
lot of them are just they're well conditioned. They're
hmm,
able to do those long rounds. See, that's what a lot of people don't even realize. It's not just you going out there and throwing these haymakers. You know, God rest his soul. Kimball Slice. I don't think he realized
yeah,
that. Look at, I mean,
no,
what was the one? What was the one fight? He ended up getting knocked down like the first like 15 seconds.
yeah,
Like was it Seth Petruzzi?
yeah,
Who was like,
and
and Kimball Slice had like 40 pounds on the guy.
yeah,
But it's like,
and it there's a you have to have that dog, that fight that's willing to go in there. And I mean, you look at football guys, especially defensive players. I mean, that's all that's what they do. They're going out there to make these hits. They're going out there, they're putting their bodies on the line. So when you step into a combat sport, the competitive edge doesn't leave you. It's amplified by like 20 almost, because now it's like, oh, you get to hit this guy completely and I'm going to teach you the technique to do it. You already have the base that you need, like you said, that conditioning. You already have that. So
well,
then
and then you also
it
gotta,
makes
you
it
also gotta,
dangerous.
you gotta also be able to react. Nobody's untouchable. Like, so after getting punched in the face, you gotta like still remember everything. Like, okay, well, you gotta adjust. I gotta do this differently. Make sure that doesn't happen again. So I think that's a part of the problem for a lot of guys too. They're
Oh
not used
yeah.
to getting punched in the face like that,
Or
and when they
you're
do, they just kind of get rattled.
Josh Hokett and you just stand there and get bloodied up and have the most electrifying fight I've ever seen, and it doesn't even phase you. I
Just
don't.
something out of Rocky.
I'm promising you and everyone that's listening to this episode. Yes, Josh Hokett is shtick. Yes, he does things and says things that you're just like, dude, why? Why are you saying it? But go back and watch the fight before the White House fight. This man went, I can't remember who he fought. It was a very good heavyweight fighter. This man and that guy stood toe to toe like it was Rocky 1, Apollo Creed versus Rocky, and we're just throwing bomb after bomb after bomb. They didn't shoot it for a takedown. There was no grappling whatsoever. It was just standing toe to toe. And you could hear Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier going, oh my gosh, Hokett is about to get knocked out. And then Hokett just lays in this 1-2 combination that you're like, that dude should be on the ground sleeping, but he's not. He's coming back forward and just throwing 1-2 at Hokett. It was
Just
both
hits that
fighters.
second gear.
It was insane. It was three. I want to say it was 3 rounds. It was 3 rounds of the most strikes I've ever seen thrown, where I was just like, dude, both guys need to be checked for like a concussion. There's no way that they don't. And I mean, it led to Hokett getting the fight that he got at the White House. Dana White literally ran into his locker room and said, is he still here? Has he gone to the hospital yet? And they said no. And he said, do you want to fight at the White House? Which I mean, he had only 2 months to prepare for the White House. And he came out and did that at the White House. I mean, the fight I want to see happen, I don't know if we'll get to see it happen. I think it would be an exciting fight. Gable Stevenson and Hokett. I just want to. I think Gable is a young guy that if he wants to answer the talking from Hokett, then he will. Hokett obviously wants who he wants. He wants Pereira. I, I think he's going to regret that if he gets that fight. I think that's another animal. But Gable Stevenson's a college wrestler that he looks real strong. And in his debut, he won his fight without even using any grappling.
Well,
So
you said he's been training with John Jones.
the GOAT. I mean, to win a fight and you're a college wrestler that only lost one college wrestling match, and that was in the championship, and that was the only time you've ever gotten taken down, and then you win your fights without using wrestling and without even attempting a takedown. I don't know who would want to step into the octagon with that. Like, because he knows he can take you to the ground. He knows he can beat you with that. And as a fighter, he can do it. But now if you got to worry about his hands and kicking, that that's just another
I
beast.
well, like I mean, like I was telling you, you know, I don't watch UFC, like you do. I mean, I'll tune it in, if there's like some big names. I said I think the sport could use some, heavyweights again.
It
So
really could.
it is. I think it's exciting times for the UFC. But man, and then hey, college football officially starting Thursday.
I'm
So
excited.
between Thursday and Friday, there's 30 FCS games, and then Saturday you got some, nothing too crazy going on. You got North Carolina at TCU, so you got Belichick for
Be paying
Sunny
attention to
Sites.
that. Yep.
San Jose State at USC, but Jaden Maeva, that's a guy that he's a stock riser. Trying to make a name of himself. He had a pretty solid season last year at USC. Let's see what he does. Can do it again. NC State at Virginia, and then you got New Mexico State at Florida State. One of the guys I'm really looking at is Deuce Robinson, 6'6" receiver for the Seminoles. So yeah, I'm just happy that football's finally here.
Yeah. It's
Finally
been a
a couple days
long
away.
wait. It's been a long wait.
Too long, but it's finally here.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Really looking forward to that college football season starting up. I'll be watching all of those games. And I even messaged you because when you said it was starting up, I'm like, when's that Akron game? Because
September 3rd.
I will be tuning in completely to see that. So I'm just really happy that football is back.
Yeah, I could be mistaken. I think so. I think it's the first home game. I'm not sure if September 3rd's their opener, but so yeah, it'll either be September 3rd or I think September 10th. But yeah, so I'll be looking at that too. Well, brother, seriously, man, thanks for getting on again.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
J by the Bay faithful guys, seriously, for everybody watching, tuning in, thank you so much. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Again, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Also, check us out on Instagram at J by the Bay. All those graphics that you're seeing here today will be on there. But yeah, fun stuff. Football is here. It's Thursday. I'm excited. I'm thrilled.
I'm
Like always,
excited too.
like I always say, I'm like a little kid on Christmas morning
Yep.
opening gifts.
Yep.
I love it. But yeah, brother, I will see you next Monday.
Yep.
But guys, I will be back Thursday for the solo show. But it'll be fun. Excited.
Absolutely.
But that'll do it for the J by the Bay podcast. Again, thank you to the J by the Bay faithful. Love you guys so much. But God bless you. Take care. We'll see you next time.
See you next time, guys.